Hello and welcome back to Market House, a podcast where we talk all things Disney. My name is Caleb and I'm the host of this show, and I just want to start off by wishing everyone a happy new year. I can't believe it's 2022, but it is here, and personally, looking forward to what this new year has to offer. I think everyone was hopeful that 21 would bring some much-needed change, the pandemic in the rearview mirror, and, family, friends, travel, all the fun things, and it was kind of more of the same. It was a little better, but I think everyone feels that it was still a very modified way of living, and so I hope that 2022 brings us a more normal state of living, and again, I'm hoping COVID kind of gets behind us and we can get past this crazy virus. But we're looking forward to it. My wife and I, we have some trips planned, hoping those can kind of stay on schedule and stay possible with the virus. I know things are getting a little sketchy with the Omicron, however you pronounce it. But hopefully things kind of continue to improve and we can go on all those fun trips. But again, Happy New Year. I hope everyone had a good time. No matter how you celebrated it, I know we had to kind of modify what we were doing because some family members were sick. So hope everyone stayed healthy, stayed safe, and we're going into the new year with some hope. So anyways, buckle up, folks. We've got a lot of news and some fun discussions here. So let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so speaking of the new year, we've got some kind of an overview of the Disney movies that are coming out in the year 2022. And I'm going to skip over a couple of the first ones. Let's just briefly, I'll just say the names, because these are 20th Century Fox assets, movies that are coming out, and they just don't feel very Disney. I know they own them now, and that's great and all, but kind of adult focused, and it's kind of weird saying this new Disney movie called Deep Water with Ben Affleck and whatever. It just, and you read what it's about and stuff, it doesn't feel very Disney. So we'll just briefly go over those. So let's just go Deep Water, January 14th, the Ben Affleck film. Death on the Nile, February 11th. I think Kenneth Branagh, it's Agatha Christie murder mystery. Kenneth Branagh, I don't know how you pronounce his name, of Harry Potter fame and other big movies. I know people are going to be like, what the heck? Not just Harry Potter. He directs now. He's a very successful, talented guy, but he's got a movie coming out in February. So here we are, finally to the kind of family-friendly Disney movies we all know and love. We've got Turning Red coming out March 11th. That is a Disney/Pixar film. And that's about the girl that I think when she gets mad, she turns into a red panda. So very weird premise. Curious to see what they do with this. Coming in, well, I think we're kind of bouncing around dates here, but the Ice Age is coming back. I think everyone knows this as it was, I think, owned by Fox, but it was by, what was it called? Blue? Anyways, it was their animation studio, which I'm forgetting the name of. But Ice Age is coming from Disney now since they own this IP. So this is coming out January 28th. I have not seen really any, exclusively for Disney Plus. That makes sense. So I haven't seen really any marketing around this or advertising around Ice Age. So kind of surprising it's coming out in 4 weeks, but it is. So if you are a fan of that film series, then you should be excited since it's coming to Disney Plus. Next up, we've got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness coming out May 6th. We've got the Bob's Burgers movie coming out May 27th. Again, I told you this is weird. They own Fox now. We've got Lightyear, the Disney/Pixar film, coming out in June. That looks very, very good. The animation is insane. If you haven't seen the trailer yet, please go see it. It looks amazing. And we've got Chris Evans, Mr. Marvel himself. What is his name? Captain America, voicing young Buzz Lightyear. So that looks really good. Next, we've got, personally, this is probably the one I'm most excited for. We've got Thor, Love and Thunder, coming out July 8th. Thor Ragnarok is by far my favorite Marvel movie. It is fantastic. Taika Waititi does a fantastic job with this film franchise. So can't wait for Thor coming out in July. Next up, we've got an untitled. Who cares about that? I don't know. Some movie coming out from some director that I don't know. We've got Black Panther: Wakanda Forever coming out November 11th. Not entirely sure what they're doing with this one. Are they gonna change the plot to kind of I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do with the main character and Black Panther himself. Like, are they recasting him? I'm not sure what they're doing with this. So that'll be interesting to see what they do. And finally, the long-awaited sequel to Avatar. Avatar 2 is coming out December 16th. James Cameron kind of works on his own schedule, and this has been delayed multiple times. So he kind of does what he wants because he's Mr. Titanic, Mr. Avatar, Mr. whatever, right? He's a submarine man as well. He likes to dive deep in the ocean. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the guy's obsessed with the ocean, and I think he's like on record for the deepest dive ever. So not only does he make movies, he's an adventurer himself. So anyways, I think this was supposed to come out a few years ago, and it's going to come out in 2022 if that's kind of stays on schedule. So anyways, those are the Disney slash Fox films that are coming out this year. I almost said next year. It's this year now. And if you're excited for any, make sure to let us know on Instagram at Market House Podcast. Next up, we have another kind of New Year related item, and that is Bob Iger, as of January 1st, a couple days ago, is officially done at the Disney Company. As many of you know, he was the CEO and chairman for many years. He was with the company for nearly 50 years, I think 47 years. Kind of climbed the ranks from the very bottom. I think he was like a production assistant or something, some kind of assistant in the early days of, I believe it was sports. So ABC Sports or something, right? I read his book. I should remember this. But anyway, started from the very bottom and has worked his way up to CEO. So kind of like the quintessential American story of a very successful person coming from pretty much nothing. So I don't think anyone can claim self-made or whatever. I think all of us have some kind of, boost from whatever. I'm not going to get into all that. But I think Bob Iger was as self-made as you can get. So the guy has climbed up from the bottom and had a very successful career with the company. It's really sad to see him go. I think many people love him. I don't know many that have a problem with him. He acquired, in his time as CEO, acquired Lucasfilm, Pixar, the Jim Henson Company, Marvel, 20th Century Fox. I mean, the guy is a living Disney legend and steered the company, successfully over all these years. And he did a little farewell tour, both at Disneyland and Disney World. He was being interviewed by CNBC at Disneyland in Galaxy's Edge, so a lot of folks were waving and smiling at Mr. Iger. And then he spent a few days, according to his Twitter, in Disney World just kind of doing his farewell tour. So sad to see him go. Really curious to see where the company kind of goes under Bob Chapek's leadership. Don't get the two Bobs confused. But it's the end of a season. It's sad, but good luck to him. I know he is looking forward to writing a new book, and I think he's got some political aspirations. I know president was thrown around there. I don't know if he'll ever run, but he was, I know, interested in a China ambassador role. But anyways, the guy's an impressive man, and he'll go on to do some other great things. So give it up for Bob Iger. All right, next is some Disney Plus shenanigans. We've got The Book of Boba Fett is now available as of December 29th. The first episode is out. And I'm walking into the room from just watching the first episode. I was a few days late, and I'm not entirely sure what to think about it so far. I wasn't particularly impressed by the first episode. It didn't really, the start was weird. Now, I'm not calling it already. I'm not saying, oh, this is a bad show. I'm just a little confused as kind of the tone of the show in this first episode. Not much happened. It was a lot of, I know they have to kind of set the story and remind folks of what happened years ago. I think pretty much what happened right after Return of the Jedi. And so, there's a lot of storytelling that needs to take place. And they did it in a pretty unique way. It's creative, but the fight scenes were a little cheeseball. and I turned to my wife and paused it, and I said, I feel like they kind of said, hey, Jon Favreau, do The Mandalorian, but with like an eighth of the budget. Go. And that was like the direction, like, and Dave Filoni, right? He's the other writer or producer. And yeah, hey, here's an eighth of the budget. Now do what you did with Mandalorian and get on, boys. So it kind of felt like that. CGI wasn't as sharp, wasn't as crisp, wasn't as good. The fight scenes were a little cheesy. A lot of planning in on his grimaced face and punching bad guys, but you can totally tell it's a fake punch. So again, I think I'm kind of, I don't know if I'm being a little too cynical, but it was a little cheesy, and I feel like it's perfect for, like a 13-year-old audience. I would have loved this at 13 years old. It's very, kick 'em, punch 'em in the face, fun action, and like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's just not, I don't know. It's not the best so far. So I'm hoping episode 2 surprises us and kind of kicks things into gear. But so far, I'm like, maybe. If the next one doesn't catch me, I might not watch this one. Might pass. Next up, we've got kind of an unfortunate event that happened in Disneyland. The social media was ablaze on December 28th after reports came out that an armed, and I put those in quotations, an armed guest was threatening cast members inside the Golden Horseshoe. Disney later commented saying that there was a belligerent guest, but he was not armed with a weapon. So I know social media, it's kind of like the telephone game, right? One person says this, one person says that. So social media took this and absolutely, I think, stretched this thing out for all it was worth, milked this story, and I think everyone was saying first it was a gun, right? This guy had a gun, and then second it was it was on a gun, he was armed with some kind of weapon, and no one really knew what that meant. It could have been a lightsaber for all we know, but I think Disney kind of squashed all that rumor and said, no, we just had an angry guest and was causing a ruckus in the Golden Horseshoe. So, yeah, guys, Disneyland can be stressful. It's there's a lot of people there, a lot of lines, a lot of heat. It's that SoCal sun. It gets to you. But for the love, man, chill out. And I hope this guy's healthy and he's in a good spot, but yeah, man, if you're going to be angry, sit down, eat a Dole Whip, meditate in the Animation Academy. That is the room full of screens in DCA, and it's beautiful. They play great songs and animation in there, This Land and Lion King and other great Disney soundtracks. I sound like I'm plugging a Disney a Disney CD you can buy for 4 easy payments of $12.99. But anyways, chill out. It's Disneyland. It's a fun place. If you're angry, chill. Just chill. Don't pull a cast member aside and yell at them. That's inappropriate, uncalled for. So I'm hoping this guy got some help afterwards, chilled out, maybe learned a lesson. Don't yell at cast members inside of Disneyland. And our final news story takes place on the Disney Fantasy, one of the 4 Disney cruise, or soon to be 5 Disney cruise ships. And unfortunately, they were unable to debark at St. Thomas. So they were on the 7-night Eastern Caribbean cruise, and they, pulled up to port at St. Thomas, and the captain came on and said, guys, we're not going to be able to enjoy the island because we've got some folks, some guests, quarantining in their rooms. So I believe St. Thomas now has kind of a zero, what do you call that? Anyways, they have it on lockdown. So they're taking COVID very seriously. I'm trying to think of the term used there. But I think it's 1 person, 2 people that have COVID or suspected of having COVID, you're not getting on this island. So they're taking it very seriously, and it's unfortunate that they weren't able to enjoy the island, but it sounds like St. Thomas is taking precautions. I know some of those smaller islands, those Bahamian and Caribbean islands, are a little nervous because their hospitals aren't as well equipped as the U.S. or Europe or any of those other countries, especially since they're an island. So it takes a long time for them to get help and supplies. So yeah, not as easy as like Cincinnati, right? You can fly stuff in there pretty easily and drive stuff in and out, semi-trucks, rail, everything's available to folks in Cincinnati. I don't know why I chose that city, but Cincinnati. All right. But anyways, guests were offered. They received a 20% credit for a future cruise and $200 of onboard credit. So not too shabby for missing out on one port. I know they had just had another sea day and they went to the next island, whatever that was. So I would have taken that and been pretty happy about it. So anyways, if you're planning on taking a cruise soon, know that there's a risk of maybe having an extra sea day there with this COVID stuff. All right, so that brings us to our main segment for this episode, and that is money-saving tips for Disneyland. And I know you may be laughing right now going, oh, that's fresh, man. That is hilarious. Money-saving tips for what? The most expensive place on the planet? And I know it is hard to save money when going to this particular destination. Disneyland is not a cheap date. It is an expensive trip, but there are ways to save money during your travel there. And also maybe some just kind of, and I think, again, most of these are common sense, but it is a good reminder on how to save a few bucks so you can use this either on your next trip or you have a few extra bucks for maybe a Mickey sweatshirt or something, right? If I save you $20, that's $20 more I can go to some fun merch. So anyways, let's just dive into these. Again, most of these are common sense. Some of these you may not know already, but let's go ahead and go down the list. First off, book your flights Tuesday through Thursday. And I'm not saying like book them for like fly out on Tuesday. I'm saying legit, don't go onto your computer until Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday to book your trips because airlines increase their prices Friday through Sunday since most people think of vacations during the weekend. Now, this is straight up messed up. Airlines are like weaponizing the human brain and going, you have your lazy Sunday or your Saturday and you're hanging out at home and you go, you know what? I want to do this more often. I want 7 days of this at the Disneyland Resort. Southwest, Delta, American, they all know this and they tap into that. And so a fare, if you book on the same exact flight, if you booked it on a Sunday, is going to be more expensive if you booked it on a Wednesday. So wait until the middle of the week when you're in the right in the smack dab of your work week and kid soccer practice and all that stuff to book your fares, since you will save a little bit of cash. And most airlines also announce their sale fares on Tuesday. So if they're going to have sales that week, it will most likely be announced on Tuesday. All right, the next tip is going to be a little hard for the planners out there, but some interesting little factoid here, and that is hotels are going to be the cheapest if you book them about 2 weeks out. And I worded that very odd, but don't book your hotel until about 2 weeks out from your check-in date. And data shows that that's the cheapest time to do it. Now, that's hard for me. I usually don't do that. I'm not going to lie, so I don't follow my own advice. But yeah, according to the data, Kayak, Google, they all aggregate this stuff 2 weeks out. And that's because hotels would rather have you in a lower rate, right? So let's say the normal price is $200 a night and they got you in there for $130. They'd rather have that at $130 a night than empty it all, right? Because I think, I'm not entirely sure. I think a hotel needs to be like 85% or more booked to be making money. I know there's like there's a line, and if we're not 85% occupied, then we're losing cash. So kind of some interesting stuff there. But anyways, 2 weeks out. I know this is hard for some folks because you'll have your flights booked out for like 5 months, and then you're like, where are we staying? Where are we staying? But hey, that's what the data shows. Don't blame me. Don't blame me. Blame Google. But yeah. And also, this is not so much a money-saving tip, but this is kind of just advice. And that is book directly. If you can, book directly through the hotel. And let me tell you why. Priceline, Orbitz, all those hotels.com, they offer good rates, but usually have a lot of limitations on that rate. So you may have to pay then, right? And there's no cancellations at all. I know the actual hotel themselves know that you book third party, and they will actually put you in a less desirable room because of that. They're not going to tell you that. They're not going to go, oh, Mr. Johnson, we've got you in the room next to the laundry room or the ice machine because you are cheap and you booked through Orbitz. They're not going to tell you that. They're just going to be like, hey, Mr. Johnson, we've got you in room 3430, and you're going to show up and go, oh, we can't even get any sleep because the kids keep getting ice. So anyways, that is a little fact for you to consider. And also, if there's something wrong with the room, right? Or there's something wrong with your plans, if you want to go cancel with the hotel, they go, sorry, man, you booked through Priceline. You're going to have to call them and deal with them and change your plans through them. So it comes with a lot of limitations. And this is the great thing. You're going to go, well, I want to save money, right? Hilton's got it at $180. I can get it for $150. If you can show the hotel, and there's usually, you have to search for it on their website. If you can show most hotels, brands, Hilton, Marriott, Hyatt, if you can show them that there's there's similar terms. So if you show them a hotel's rate, hotels.com, and say, hey, this is $150 and 24-hour cancellation policy, and you go over to the Hyatt and they have it for $30 more. If you can show them that, they will honor that rate, and on top of that, do a 15 to 20% discount on that rate. So they're saying, we've got the best price out there, and if you can beat it, and our computer system or our algorithm, whatever, is not catching up with other sites, we'll discount that rate for you. So I've actually done this a couple times, both with Hilton and Hyatt, and they've both honored it. So I found a cheaper rate on, I don't know what it was, and just showed them and sent them a little form, and they sent it back within a few hours and said, yeah, you're right, Mr. Whatever. Here's a 20% discount on your rate. So I got a great hotel for like super discounted. So anyways, that's a really long tip, but go ahead and do that, because it'll save you some money and give you the most flexibility booking straight through the hotel brand. And sorry, one more, and this is one I don't even have in my notes. You get points that way. So if you're kind of loyal, and if you find a hotel you love down in Disneyland and you stay directly with that hotel and book directly with them, by the third or fourth trip, you'll probably have enough points to get a couple nights free on your next trip. So that's also something to consider, are those loyalty programs. And this is kind of common sense, but if you're looking to save some money, do not book a Disneyland hotel. And that includes the Paradise Pier Hotel, the Disneyland Hotel, and the Grand Californian. And let me tell you why it's probably even not worth the exorbitant cost. And if you have the money and you want to do something big for your family, by all means, book it, right? It's $500-$600 a night. And if you've got that kind of cash, number one, good for you. Number two, do it. It's a blast. It's themed. It's great. It's all the Disney magic, and you never leave that bubble, and it's amazing. I've done it, but it's awesome. But if you're looking to save money on this trip, and you don't feel too bad, and I'm trying to say is that Disneyland's so compact. The Anaheim itself is so small compared to Orlando and Disney World and Universal out there. It's so easy to book a hotel for a couple $100 a night versus the $600, and it's an additional 5-minute walk. And it's because everything's just so there. It's Harbor Boulevard. That's all you need to know. Harbor Boulevard, if you got a hotel on that road, you're within 15-20 minutes max walk. And so if you've got the money to book at another extra $400 a night and you want to walk 2 minutes, then by all means stay on property. But your money can go a lot farther staying off property, and you don't get that much more convenience by staying on property. So if that makes you feel a little better about not staying on site, you can explain to your kids, listen, Timmy, buddy, when you start working, you'll understand the value of money, and Pops is going to be booking the hotel 10 minutes down the road with continental breakfast and a shuttle to the park. So anyways, that's common sense, but don't book Disneyland Hotel if you want to save some money. Next up, we've got a little shout out to a small company. You may have heard of it, a little startup called Google. Use their tools. If you want to be number one, you want your search history to be used to sell to other companies and use as a product. It's a double whammy here. It's great. You win both ways. I know many of us hate Google, but it's kind of a necessary evil. You got to use it. What else are you going to use? Ask Jeeves or Bing? For the love of God, no one uses Bing. But anyways, use Google. It's a fantastic product. Put on incognito mode. I don't know if that makes you feel, I don't know if it does anything. Makes you feel better. I don't know. But Google Flights is an extremely powerful tool. You can compare prices between most airlines except for Southwest and JetBlue. I may be missing a couple, but those are the main ones that aren't included in that. You have to go directly to their website to see fares, but it's also going to show you pricing trends. So you can pop in your dates. Let's say you want to go March 14th through the 18th, and you can pop those in. It's going to tell you, hey, this is a good time to buy, or these prices are typical for your dates, or these prices are low. You should book now. So there's a lot of data in that little free search tool, and it can make you feel better about what you're paying for those flights. And also, Google's kind of got a built-in, it's not called, so that's called Google Flights, right? What I just told you, literally just Google Flights, and it's going to come up. This next thing it's not called Google Hotels. It's just kind of built into the search thing. So what I do, and this is the easiest way to search hotels, is God, it sounds like I'm explaining this too. Again, I know you probably know how to use this already, but I'm just going to go through it. If you just go into the Google bar, Grandma, go to the search bar. If you go to the Google thing and you just type in Anaheim hotels, that's all you got to do. Anaheim hotels, it's going to come up with this cool tool. It's got dates on there. You can plug in your dates. And again, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to compare all the different hotels in the area and go, hey, looks like a good rate, or hey, prices seem to be falling, or you should book in the next week. It should be whatever. So it's just got a lot of data on there. Again, gives you more data than you need to make sure you're making an informed decision on your hotel/flight booking. Next tip is if you're going to Disneyland, consider going off-peak and during the week. And by off-peak, I mean kind of an off-peak season. So you're going to save so much money going during February and a Monday through Thursday trip versus going a Thursday through Sunday or Friday through Sunday trip in the middle of July. And you're just going to save on everything. Actually, you're going to save on Disneyland tickets because they have peak pricing now. So they got it based on days and how booked they are and how busy the park is. So you can pay as little as like $110 a day all the way up to $150 a day. So there's a pretty big difference there. And you can save some serious cash, especially if you're bringing a family on tickets alone, not including also hotels and flights tend to be cheaper during the week as well. So unfortunately, there's not really many slow seasons anymore. Back in the day, you could find, again, like a week in February or a week in January where it was just slow, right? There was like way less people in the park, and that's not really the case anymore. It's pretty much busy all throughout the year, but it's less busy if you don't go. Okay, I'm just going to tell you the times not to go. If you can control it, do not go during these times. Summer, because number one, it feels like you're on the surface of the sun and you're being punished for something that you don't even know you did, but God is punishing you for being on this earth. Number two is Christmas week. That is, it's a death sentence. If you want to keep your sanity and enjoy your family by the end of this week, do not go during Christmas week. Thanksgiving week, same thing. That whole week is terrible. It's terrible. Why do that to yourself? Why spend $5,000-$6,000 just to feel terrible and angry? New Year's week, another terrible time to go, and holiday weekend. So any kind of holiday weekend, like you got an extra Monday, I get it. You got an extra PTO day. You don't need to take PTO. I understand you get a holiday, but you have to understand everyone else is thinking that same thing. So if you don't mind that, if I had to pick out of all those things I just listed, I'd take that just Monday, right? I'd take that MLK or President's Day or whatever. I'd take that Monday over Christmas week. So if you have to pick any of those, that's the less busy of all of them. But again, if you can avoid them, do it. All right, next up, we've got a little ticket buying advice, a little tip here, and I swear we're not sponsored by these people. I wish we were, but we're not. But Undercover Tourist is a fantastic place to buy your tickets. And let me tell you why. Number one, they're 100% legit. I've used them a million times, and they work every time. Never had a problem with them. But they also can save you up to like $22 a person if you're booking a 3-day park hopper. And that's some money. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but again, when you're spending a heck of a lot of money already and you save $100 on your tickets, I'll take it, especially since there's no such thing as discounts through Disney. They don't really discount stuff. So if you have to spend the money, might as well save a little bit with Undercover Tourist. And I'm just shouting that there might be some other discount ticket sites. I'm only shouting them out because I've used them personally and have never had a problem. Also, another great, cool thing they do is they offer a more generous return policy than Disney. Most of the time, let's say you guys book a couple $1,000s worth of tickets through Disney and something comes up, or hey, wife lost her job, or husband, hey, something bad happens and you want your money back. Most of the time Disney goes, sorry, you can use your ticket whenever you want in the next couple of years, but we're not giving you money back. Whereas Undercover Tourist will give you that money back if you need that to happen. So great flexibility with their cancellation policy, and you'll save a little money during it. All right, the next two tips are, again, a little more common sense stuff, but I'm just going to shout them out since they're important, and that is eat at counter service restaurants while you're at the park. Of course, Those sit-down restaurants cost more money just because of the experience. You have to add tip on that guy, and the plates are a little more pricey than if you're going to order some burgers at the counter service restaurant. And at the end of the day, Disneyland has some amazing food, and you're not missing out on too much choosing the counter service versus the sit-down. And for multiple reasons. One is quality of food. If there's not a giant difference, it's probably not worth the extra 25-30% of sitting down. And also time. If you guys are on a limited time budget, you got a couple days at the parks, and you want to get as much as you can into those 2 days, wasting time at a sit-down restaurant is can be a little frustrating, right? So it takes an hour and a half to eat versus 35 minutes. You guys lose a lot of line time. Yeah, I know the mom and dads are there is like, oh, darn, I have less time to wait in line. Shoot. But anyways, if you're trying to get those rides in, if you want to, fit that Cars ride in the last minute or some other big ride, your kid wants to ride Matterhorn, that time is valuable. So choose the counter service. But if you really want to treat yourself to a sit-down restaurant, let me recommend Wine Country. Is it Trattoria? I don't know. Wine Country. We call it Wine Country because that last word is a little confusing. But that's in Disney's California Adventure, and that is some great Italian food for, I think, a very fair price. It's very similar to Olive Garden price-wise, but better food. I mean, Olive Garden's not that hard to beat, but they have some great gluten-free options, great regular options, and again, it's not going to break the bank. It's not like $40 a plate. It's probably around $18, and it's some really good food. And another tip related to kind of eating is eat breakfast at the hotel. Breakfast at the park is expensive. If you've got free breakfast at that hotel, that continental breakfast, you know what's up, Holiday Inn, other things, Hyatt Place, Marriott, this typical sit down. You get that waffle station, you get that weird kind of soggy bacon, you get the toast machine that's fun to use for the first couple days, and you're like, I want my regular toaster at home, and you get the kind of like, hey, this yogurt's kind of cold, but it's not really cold. I don't know if I should eat this, but I'm really hungry and I'm really tired, so I'm just going to do it. That experience, honestly, go with the safest thing. Don't get sick, but maybe go with the really crummy oatmeal they have at the hotel, because Disneyland breakfast is decent, but it's expensive. So you can save $50 every morning by just eating something at the hotel. And if you want to spend a little something and get maybe upgrade from the continental breakfast, maybe go to Starbucks either in downtown Disney or downtown Disney. I think that's the better one. It's giant, and you can actually I think you can mobile order at that one. And you can't. I know for sure you can't in the parks, but I think you can mobile order at the down. I may be wrong, but anyways, you'll save a little money there than the Disney pricing, and you get some food and some coffee. But anyways, at the end of the day, avoid breakfast at the parks if you're looking to save money. All right, we have another food-related tip. I'm just obsessed with food right now, and that is bring your own snacks. Again, another common sense tip here, but it's really easy to kind of get caught up in that Disney magic. And let me tell you, it is easy to get hungry at those dang parks because they legit invented like this smello something. They have fans all throughout the park blowing popcorn smell at you, blowing waffle cone scent, churro scent. They blow that stuff in your face, and boy, do you get hungry. I mean, I'll eat breakfast, and then 45 minutes later, I'm like, God, I'm starving. When are we going to eat? And I just stuffed my face with, gluten-free Mickey waffles and it was real carb heavy, guys. How can you be hungry, Caleb? But anyways, bacon, waffles, all that stuff. I stuff my face and I'm hungry 45 minutes later, and that because they just tempt you. They tempt you throughout the whole day. So save yourself some cash by bringing some protein bars, some pretzels, some chips, especially with kids, man, they get snacky and cranky. And you will save so much money because a typical Disneyland snack averages around $5 a pop. So you got to get one for one kid, you got to get one for the other because they're going to fight over it. So you got $10 there. Then mom's hungry, you got 15. So you can easily spend $20 for a non-meal time. You got just snack. And then in an hour, you're going to be spending $60 for lunch. So save some cash, go to the Target. There's a Target right down the street, and stock up on snacks there. Or you can always Amazon that junk to the hotel, and they'll drop it off at the front desk, and then you can pick it up. And if you didn't know that, do it. It's amazing. We do it with water. So if you want like water bottles, we'll just Amazon it to Prime it to the hotel and drink water in a room that way. It's amazing. All right. And our final tip is don't pay for Genie Plus. And this is the new system. This is the Fast Pass system that they're trying to shove down our throats and charge us for at $20 per person per day for something that was free not too long ago. And it's not even that. So even if it was a great product and I'd be like, save money and don't use it just because you want to save money. No, I'm saying don't use this because number one, I just hate the system. It's crazy that they're doing this to us. And second, it doesn't even work. It doesn't work very well. People have already pointed out it crashes all the time. I just read some poor guy's story on, I think it was on Reddit or Instagram, that he paid for his family to have this thing, and they were only able to use it 3 times throughout the day because it was so busy, and the system kept crashing, and they were confused, and things weren't working right. So don't spend the money on a very young product. And who knows, I might change my tune in 6 months when they've got this thing fleshed out. But so far, it's not proven very reliable or useful. And we know Disney, and people have shown this, and this is not some weird conspiracy. I'm out in my office, like fiercely clicking on the computer, like, oh, tell me the bad news. It's pretty proven from vloggers and people just going to the parks. Disney's inflating wait times on the app now to try and push you to pay for the service. So they want you to pay for this by showing that Pirates of the Caribbean 65 minutes, and then people get in line, they wait 20, and they're like, why did you say 65? And it's kind of messed up. So I'm hoping it's either something wrong with the system and it's just broken, and I'm really hoping it's not them trying to mislead people to spend $100 for a family per day, which is unbelievable. So again, if you want to save money, don't book this stinking thing. Don't pay for the service. Wait in line. It's most likely going to be less than what's posted on that standby wait time, and play some games in line, eat those snacks that we talked about earlier, and don't pay for Genie Plus. All right, and on that note, that is the end of our episode. Again, at the end of the day, folks, Disneyland is an expensive vacation, and it's honestly really hard to kind of do it on the cheap. If you see people, they kind of clickbait YouTube titles like how I went to Disney for $300, and then you look and they're like, well, I mean, I had $1,000 of Target of Disney gift cards from Target from family and friends. So most of it's that. There's really not a really good way to do this cheaply. It's a very expensive vacation, but I'm hoping these few tips kind of will save you that. It's not going to save you gobs of money. It's not going to save you $1,000, right? But hopefully it saves you a few bucks. Let's say $75 by the end of your trip, or $100 by the end of your vacation. That's an extra $100 you can either take home, use it to book your next Disney vacation, or buy the sweatshirt you were going to splurge on but felt bad about. You got an extra $100 now. So, again, hard to do it, but it's totally doable to just kind of, save some money on a couple of things. Thank you so much for listening. That is the end of this episode. You can find us on Instagram at Market House Podcast, where you will see some trip pictures coming up soon. We're leaving for a short Disneyland trip and hopefully enjoying the last of the Christmas season there. But thanks so much for listening. We will see you next time.